Why do the steadiest souls often feel like outcasts? Why does your calmness, your silence, seem to change the energy of a room, even when you don't say anything? It's not your behavior. Not is your attitude, which is, hey, most people think of auras as a mysterious light, something new, something imagined. But Carl Jung looked deeper. He understood that what we call aura is the psychological atmosphere that radiates from the integration of the world within you. Your presence is a reflection of the deep level at which you have met yourself, and when that energy is complete, it will cause discomfort. Not because you want to, but because most people do not dare to face themselves with such honesty. When you enter a space, you don't just enter with a body, you come to frequency, with self-awareness, with depth. And that frequency becomes a mirror. It reflects what others are not ready to face within themselves. You don't have to say a word, only silence. Yours has awakened something. For those who hide behind smiles, roles, and personalities, you feel like the truth. And truth, even when gentle, is never neutral. This isn't about getting better. It's about being realistic. And in a world where most people are taught to cherish, you chose to be complete. Option. That carries strength. But it also carries with it a kind of quiet loneliness. So if you've ever felt misunderstood, too intense, too different, this is not your weakness. This is the attraction of a powerful aura, an aura that Jung understood very well. And maybe, just maybe, you are not too much. You're just someone who stopped wearing a mask in a room full of performers. 1. Your presence says more than words. You don't even have to speak. Just walk into the room and something changes. The air feels different. The conversation stalled. Eyes glanced towards you, then looked away just as quickly. Some people are restless. Some people are silent. They may not understand it, but they do feel that. That is your aura. And it's not noisy. It's not about charisma or performance. It is the quiet strength of someone who has faced himself and become whole. Carl Jung believed that the more we integrate the hidden parts of ourselves, the shadows, the repressed emotions, the unspoken fears, the more can them. The more we begin to carry weight, a psychological weight, a spiritual density, something that cannot be measured, but always felt. This is what happens when you stop chasing validation, when you no longer shrink to fit the room, once you've encountered your wounds and choose not to hide them. You become coherent, and in a fragmented world, coherence is a concern. You may notice people avoiding eye contact, not because they don't like you, but because your presence reminds them of something they've buried. In you, they feel something they have lost in themselves: lucidity, stillness, truth. And here's the paradox. You're not trying to impress, you are just existing. But survival yours carries with it the illusion-breaking frequency. Not with noise, but with depth. So if you've ever wondered why your silence is noticed before your words, why strangers lean towards you or away from you, remember this: an unnaturally strong aura appeared. It just appeared, and it speaks even when you don't. 2. You activate the illumination without even trying. And once your presence is felt, the reactions will begin. Some people leaned closer, intrigued by something they couldn't explain. The others stepped back, suddenly alert. They don't know why, but you know. You do nothing with them both. You are just the main one. And still, you awaken something. Carl Jung called it illumination, the mind's unconscious way of shedding what it refuses to possess. When someone sees you, for real they see more than just a human being. They are looking in a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see. So they show. They said you are too much. But what they mean is, I don't know how to keep so many truths. They said you are arrogant. But what they mean is, your confidence accentuates my self-doubt. It's not your fault. You didn't ask to be their reflection. But when your aura is coherent, it naturally destabilizes the illusions that others are living. It's like walking through a fun house mirror hallway, and suddenly someone appeared with perfect clarity. No deformation, no action. Friend, it's scary for people who build their identity on performance. They don't know where to put you, so they dump their pain on you. You will notice it in small ways. Criticism for no reason. Cold looks, misunderstood over and over again. But don't cringe. This is not a flaw in your presence, but a sign of strength. You are not what they see. You are what they refuse see in yourself. And the more whole you become, the more clearly they will see their own fragmentation. This is the silent responsibility of a powerful aura. You don't just walk into a room, you awaken it. 3. Strangers react emotionally to you. And then, there are those moments you don't see coming. A friend you just met started crying. A stranger tells you their life story without prompting. Or worse, someone gets mad at you for no reason at all. It feels personal, but that's not the case. So full of energy. Your presence touches a place they have forgotten, or perhaps tried to bury it for many years. Jung described the subconscious as a storehouse, a repository of everything we repress. The grief we never name, the anger we swallow, the truth we fear. Most people carry that burden, carefully hidden so no one sees it. But when your aura is grounded, integrated, authentic, it stirs those waters. No need to ask, no warning needed. In a way, you become an emotional tuning fork, not because of you try to become, but because your coherence amplifies their discord. And so they feel like friends. Not on the surface, but in the soul. Not always beautiful. Sometimes it's chaotic. They may feel comfortable, or they may feel exposed. They may thank you, or they may resent you for what they revealed in front of you. But no matter what, something moves. You are not dramatic. You are not too much. You simply are living in a world that has learned to paralyze itself. What about vibrancy? It is contagious, but also confrontational. Because you don't just carry energy, but also activate it. That's why you leave a more lasting impression than your words. Why do people miss feelings? Sense of them when they're with you, even if they can't remember what you said. Your aura awakens the sleeping parts of others, and awakening is never neutral. Boy, superficiality cannot exist around you. By now, you've probably realized you're not good at swimming in shallow spaces. Small talk sounds heavy. Smile. Fake makes you tired. Empty conversations make you feel lonelier than silence. You don't judge. You just do not participate in the game. You see the masks. Performance. The subtle ways people try to be liked, admired, accepted by pretending. And what about your presence? It doesn't fit that scenario. You don't flatter. You don't perform. You don't laugh when something isn't real. And that alone is enough to upset everyone. It's not because you said something wrong. It's because you don't pretend. Your silence, your immobility, your refusal to participate in the performance, it threatens the entire show. For someone who builds their identity on image, your authenticity feels like exposure. They feel it, even if they can't name it. They feel seen, and not everyone is ready to be seen. You don't have to confront anyone. Just being in the room, present, steady, clear-sighted, is enough to change the energy. And so, some people avoid you, others avoid you. They may call you boring, too serious, or intense. But let's be honest, they don't feel uncomfortable because of you. They feel uncomfortable because of things they can't hide when you're around. Your aura does not tolerate pretense. It does not attack pretense. It just makes the pretense impossible to maintain. And that way, without even trying, you become a silent invitation to remove the mask, to stop pretending, to come home to something real. What about those who are ready? They will feel it. Not everyone can meet you there, but the people who meet you there, they won't forget the way your presence made them feel. Safe truth. 5. You are misunderstood as too much. You've heard this before. You are too sensitive, you think too much, you're just too intense. But let's translate that. What they really wanted to say was, you are vibrating at a frequency that I cannot regulate. Your depth touches places inside me that I have never dared to feel. You don't. It's not too much. You are only more than what this world holds. Carl Jung talked about the nucleus way, the mask we wear to belong. Most people never take it off, because behind it is rawness, weakness, truth. How about you? You are no longer wearing a mask. You've peeled it back, layer by layer, and now your very presence has said what others are still afraid to whisper. You feel deeply, you think in layers, you listen to what is not being said, and that makes everyone nervous, because we live in a world of confusion, paralysis with power, and see authenticity is a threat. So when you show up authentically, when you feel like you don't need a filter, when you speak without shyness, when you exist without apologizing, you broke the norm. Your honesty becomes a form of silent resistance. Noiseless, unobtrusive, just truth. And in a culture that prizes pretense, the truth is always misunderstood. But let that misunderstanding affirm you. You are not here to be digested. You are here to be complete. And yes, wholeness can seem too much to those still living in brokenness. So keep your intensity, protect your depth. That is not a defect. That's your frequency. And that's exactly what this world needs, even if it doesn't know how to receive it yet. 6. You change the room just by your presence. You don't need to speak. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to try. Friends enter, and the atmosphere change. So exquisite, a look that lingers too long, a conversation suddenly vanished, a strange silence like never before. You don't bring noise, you bring it presence. That is your aura. It comes before you do it. And when it comes, people feel it, not in their mind, but in their nervous system. Carl Jung often said that the psyche is not just the individual, but the energy. That means your inner landscape, your sense of self, your stillness, your depth, shine. No effort required, no need for intention. It touches on an unspoken thing, and in doing so, it upsets the emotional balance of the room. Not in a violent way, in a revealing manner, because when your energy is coherent, it reflects back what is incoherent. People feel exposed without knowing why. Some become calmer when around you, others more agitated. Even animals stop around you. Children stare longer. It's not because they're analyzing, but because there is something ancient in them. They realize they are friends. This is not an attraction. This is not seduction. This is clarity. You carry a signal that cuts through noise. And in a world addicted to distraction, your steadfastness seems radical. You don't move the room because you demand space. You move it for you embody something rare. A person does not need to demonstrate to have power, and that alone is enough to turn everything upside down. 7. You invite weakness without effort. They open up to you, not after years of trust, not after long conversations, but sometimes just for a few minutes. You don't ask about their story, but somehow it still comes out. The wounds they hide, fears they have never named, memories they hadn't talked about in years. This is not seduction. This is not persuasion. This is consonance. Your aura carries a frequency that says, you don't have to pretend here. you can be seen safely. And in a world full of masks, such a presence is rare. It's rare. It catches you off guard. Carl Jung taught that the healing process begins when the unconscious is brought into awareness. And often that process starts with one thing: be listened to without judgment. You don't provide surface energy. You provide space, a kind of peaceful stillness that holds what others cannot keep to themselves. And people feel that. Some people feel more relieved. It was as if a burden had been lifted that they didn't know they were carrying. Others feel exposed, startled that they've shared so much, not sure why. Because vulnerability isn't always comfortable. But it is real. And your presence, it carries truth onto the surface. But here's the gentle truth. Not everyone is ready for that. Some people will appreciate what you wake up to. Others will run away from it. And some may even try to use your openness to take out their pain without concern. That's why you must remember. Friend not is the vessel that holds everyone's wounds. You are not their therapist. You are an example. Door. A reminder of something honest that they have forgotten within themselves. And even if they don't thank you, they will still remember the feeling they sense when they are with you. And that feeling, that glimpse of freedom, it still lingers. Long after you are gone. 8. You repel what is not real. You don't need to argue, you don't need to explain, you don't even have to walk away. Your energy will do the work for you. People who thrive on gossip, manipulation, performance, they will fade. Not always noisy. Sometimes they just stop showing up. And it's not because you attack them, which is because you don't entertain them. Carl Jung understood this well. He believes that authenticity is more than just inspiring. It breaks the illusion just by existing. When your energy is real, clear, and solid, everything that is wrong around you becomes unpleasant. People wearing masks feel exposed. People who seek control feel they have no control over you. Performers feel out of place when the stage is not prepared for applause, because you don't play that game, and they can feel it. You are not seduced by flattery, unmoved by power games, don't care about superficial validation. And that, for someone who lives on image and approval, like being rejected, even if you don't say anything. But the truth is, you didn't come to fit into fake spaces. You come to delete they. And your presence without effort, without noise, brought exactly that. So don't be surprised when some people leave you. You don't lose them. You are losing parts of your life that no longer align with who you truly are. This is not a rejection. This is resonance. You didn't come here to be loved by everyone. You came here to become honest, and anything not built on truth will not exist. 9. You are a role model, not a therapist. You enable people. No need to try. Needless to say, just be yourself. For a while, they calm down. Next, they get angry. Defense. Feeling. They accuse you of things you didn't say. They attribute motives to you that you never had. And if you don't have to, you can start to believe it. You may be wondering, what did I do wrong? But stop. Breathe. Remember, you are not their pain. You are the plate mirror that reflects that pain. Carl Jung wrote that most people manifest what they refuse to face. Shame there. Grief there. Their unfulfilled longing. And when someone with a clear, strong aura enters that space, that clarity becomes a threat. Because when you are no longer divided, you will shed light on what others leave in the dark. You don't absorb their emotions. You just amplify what's already there. And yes, some people will thank you. Some will grow because of what you reveal. But others will blame you for stirring up what they buried. It's not your fault, and that's not your responsibility either. You are not here to fix them. You are not here to bear their pain. You are here to see more clearly, and stay clear about who you are. A strong aura doesn't mean you absorb everything. It means you reflect with compassion but with boundaries. You don't have to be the one to heal them. You don't need to be their emotional outlet. You may be deeply concerned without having to become a place to store things that do not belong to you. So the next time someone imposes on you, stop and ask yourself, is this mine, or am I just an example? And if the answer is the mirror, don't pick up something that should never be carried. Let it pass, with grace, with insight, with silent understanding. This isn't me, I'm just showing them what they haven't seen yet. 10. You don't need approval, and that's disturbing. Most people change their appearance to be accepted. They adjust their tone, their facts, their presence, just enough to keep the peace, to be loved, to feel safe. But you don't do that anymore. You've stopped editing yourself for approval. You stopped dimming your light so others would feel more comfortable in the dark. And that makes people feel uncomfortable. It's not because he's rude. It's not because he's cold. But because of you, it is not worth buying. Your sense of self does not increase or decrease when complimented. You don't perform. You don't wait to be chosen. You self-choose yourself already. And in a world built on validation, that kind of inner freedom again causes discomfort. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of life is to become yourself." But what he does not shy away from is that this privilege comes at a price. You lose the crowd. You go through seasons of loneliness. You are misunderstood, mislabeled, misunderstood. Because when you stop asking for permission, you stop playing by rules that other people never question. And for those who still rely on consent to define their identity, your freedom is at stake. They don't know what to do with someone they can't control through guilt, praise, or pressure. So they call you difficult, distinctive, too much. But deep inside, they feel your peace. And they want that. You are not here for easy digestion. You are here to be real. And what is the truth? It doesn't beg to be liked. It's just that simple. So if you walk into a room and people don't know how to react, if they cower, are timid, or walk away, remember, you don't come to suit their comfort. You come to embody freedom. And yes, freedom always feels uncomfortable for those still living in cages. Your aura is not a decoration. It's not something you wear. It is human friend when all the masks have fallen. It is the quiet echo of the work you did in the dark, the injuries you have faced, the truths you have stopped running from. And that kind of energy, it doesn't chase. It is attractive. Not everyone, not immediately. But those who are ready, they will feel it, not just in their minds, but also in their souls. Yes, your presence can be annoying. Yes, it can cause it. But that distraction? That's not a rejection. That is an invitation. An invitation to awaken, to remember what is real, to stop pretending, and return home to the self they buried long ago. In a world trained to love illusion, your authenticity is a silent revolution. A revolution does not need to be shouted, because its power lies in stillness. So if you've ever felt too much, too intense, too lonely, please understand this. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to remind them about something they have forgotten. And you do it simply by being yourself. If this spoke to something inside you, it wasn't by accident. Subscribe to Echoes of Thought, not for noise, but for depth. Share this with someone who's been called too much. And tell me in the comments, which sign felt like it was written for you?